Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, with my amazing co-host, Drew, here a little bit early this week. How you doing today, Drew? What's been going on?
I mean, after being called amazing, I'm doing amazing. I'm doing well. It's a Friday, trying to take care of some stuff before the weekend, and then the weekend's happening. But happy to be here talking about the challenge
The
and
challenge.
probably posticulating. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly. Of the finals and what the final four teams could do in the finals. So I'm excited.
100%. Thanks, everybody here in the live. You guys are amazing. This past week, I've been stimulation overload with people in the reality TV world because Rob is a podcast, was here in Toronto. So I've been out on the town. You can tell by my raspy voice that I've been doing a lot of talking. But it was such an amazing time. If you ever get an opportunity to go to any Rob is a podcast live event in any city, I would say yes, because it's such a good time. And yeah, even hanging out with all the RDP podcasters was just so fun. I've got to meet Franny from Oh, I maybe I was supposed to say that, but so many people that were there. It was really, really awesome just to hang out. So this is why I have not done an episode recap already for this week. So Matthew and I should be doing it probably tomorrow or Sunday. So we will get back on track about that. But I was busy watching Survivor. Did you watch Survivor this week?
I did watch Survivor this week, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, I guess, if anybody hasn't watched it, but there's one person I've been rooting for this entire time, and I love them so much. Like, I'm so excited. Like, I just want them to make it all the way to the end so
we were
badly.
Screaming in the auditorium for this episode. It was such a good episode to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And like I did a mini, between the commercial breaks, a bunch of us podcasters were just going up and talking on the stage and like giving like a little mini recap, in between each break. And so, yeah, it was just so good to talk about. But anyways, we're here to talk about the challenge, Global Championship. What was this episode called? Weight of the World. Was the weight of the world who was it being held by, Drew?
I don't know, and I'm not gonna lie, I keep on forgetting that they actually have each episode titled something different. Like, I completely just like whatever about these titles.
Ooh, this sounds like a good game for maybe next week. Put these episodes titles in order. Well, we have friends, as I mentioned, joining us here in the chat. Chris is here. Hello. Lauren, Amaya, Willie, Brian, lovable Nikki. Hey. Jorge. Yes, Sylvia, it's awesome that you're able to catch one of these lives. We got a different audience depending on what time we go. So I'm glad that you were able to catch us today. Hello. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Right? Are you rooting for anybody?
There's one team I feel like my heart is with, and that's Casey and Troy. But I feel like it's going to come down to two teams specifically, and we'll get into that during our power rankings, I'm sure of.
Okay. Jorge is challenging you here, saying, let's see if Drew makes a good list this time.
We'll never make a good list. I'm the villain. Fired. This is my villain arc.
Your villain era. Oh, do you know what? I haven't seen your interview with Troy. How did that go?
It was really good. He's really, really cool, down to earth. Chris from the Nullified Take channel, our friend, both of our friend, he helped set it up and got me in touch with Troy, and Troy was just really, really incredible. It was really, really fun to talk to him and pick his brain about the game and how it's different from his Australia version. And yeah, I would have loved to hear what he had to say about this past week's episode, having to go into a hall brawl. I mean, being a fan of the show and getting to have to endure a pole wrestle variant in your first season right before the finals, and then having to go into a hall brawl in your second season right before the finals, I think that, like, pinch me, I'm dreaming, but also please help me. I do not want to go into a hall brawl.
No, thank you. No, thank you. People are loving the interview, Drew. So that's awesome. I will check it out. I just have not had time yet this week. Yes, hello, hello, hello. Yes, Glenda, I did have a blast. Like, I'm starting to have a bit of separation anxiety because it's like just so many people, everybody in a good mood, everybody is taking pictures and doing shots and cheering. And like, it's just, I don't know, it's just all around good energy. So I did have a blast, and I'm just now looking forward to the next one. Drew, maybe you need to throw one for the bakery.
Yeah, well, we talked about like infiltrating, like, you know how people just make random like events. And so there was one point where Fessel was making his Orlando celebrity basketball event, and I said that we should probably infiltrate that. If he ever does a second one, we'll just all go there. We'll all enter, but not even care about who's playing basketball, and we'll all just talk with each other and just have a good time talking about the challenge and like heckling Fessel trying to play basketball.
I mean, that's kind of fun. I would come.
Sweet
I
deal.
would come. So yeah, make it happen, and I'm in, definitely. Yes, Troy is a beast. He is a beast. Well, I don't remember what happened this episode. Casey and Troy came to the house. What was the daily was another swimming daily, but basically, you know, if you climbed up a ladder, then you were able to drop one of the teams from being able to win. So how did you feel about the fact that how Jordan interpreted his deal with Emily? Because we were reminded of the deal that he made with Emily and Yes, where they would not come first. And it was apparently for this week. It wasn't for last week. So what do you think about how the deal played out?
I mean, I think they sidestepped the deal. I mean, they did find a loophole being like, we won't win, but we're not going to like try to stop you for you to not win. And to me, if you're going to sidestep the deal that way, why not just go for the win? I felt like it really brought things to a halt when they were like, well, we're going to hold up our end. I mean, Yes put out on Twitter what his interpretation of the deal, or what was said that wasn't made on camera or something. So if that's the case and they're pissed off at you anyways, I mean, why not just go for the win, set yourself up for a seat in the finals, and then do what you got to do. That's how I feel about it.
It's like whatever. Especially since like you see them like holding off from winning. So it's an obvious throw. And then they're helping Theo and Sarah get the answer correct. At this point, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna win this. Yeah, I kind of found it kind of annoying that he decided to uphold his end of the bargain here, his deal. But like it just seemed shady.
Yeah. 100%.
Someone on Twitter, what oh, sorry, it just might have slipped my mind, said something that was that Jordan basically did it this way so that in future seasons people will be like, well, I always keep my word. See, I kept my word here. I kept my, like, just to make it seem as though he's a person of his word, and he can use that in the future as a bargaining chip.
Yeah. I mean, say it for how you will. I mean, they did, from what the flashback showed, they did hold up to their end of the bargain, but come on now. You sidestepped the deal a little bit. You found a loophole, and you can say on paper, I followed the deal, but why not just go all the way with it? I mean, you made the deal not explicitly knowing that this was to get a seat into the finals if you win. So to me, it's like, why not just win? Just go all the way. Just be like, whatever. Whatever. Yeah.
It's like there's so few teams left. Like, just go in and win. Tori was kind of annoyed by it. It's like, we've been playing this game together this whole season, and like it seems like he made a deal without me. What did you think about her reaction to Jordan throwing this challenge?
I think it was a genuine paranoia, because it was a deal that Jordan did not enclose to her when she was willing to, I guess, vote herself in the basis of not voting in Jordan. And then on top of that, it gives Sarah and Theo the win. And even though Sarah and Danny are like so close together, Tori knows 100% that if Jordan wins that, she has no chance of going into elimination, even if she is like one of the two teams propped up in there. Like, she knows that she's not going in. But because it's now Sarah and Theo, and that's a little bit of a gray area, I think it was legit worry that she's going to see the last elimination right before the finals, which I kind of liked it. I liked her kind of scrambling a little bit.
I would have loved if like Jordan making this deal or whatever, that by default they ended up having to go in. I would have laughed. I'm like, well, didn't you want to go in last week? Throw yourself in last week, Tori. Anyways, you know how I'm feeling. There's a few eye roll moments that I had, like Tori and Casey doing yoga. Like I do yoga. It's not like I'm against yoga, but like just seeing that, it's just I'm like, oh, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
What did you feel? How did you feel about Kaz and Jordan having their little chit chat? She kind of talked about how she feels like she's not doing well enough, that she's always trying to impress him, or she just never wants to let him down. And they seem to have a pretty good heart to heart from my perspective. How'd you feel about it?
I think it was important for them to get that all out there. And I thought that in the confessional that it was authentic in the moment. From the previews to the actual finals, it feels like Jordan's habits of saying stuff under his breath or being frustrated because it doesn't look like Kaz is like super thrilled to be eating something or can't get something down right away, that could lose them some time or whatever. So I think it's a work in progress if he is going to be a little bit kinder in finals or in pressure situations. But I thought it was important that Kaz felt like she was heard, and that Jordan then gives her an apology. And so, yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good moment.
Yeah, I agree. I was happy that she did decide to say something instead of just letting it keep all bottled up inside her and not be able to iron this out. I think maybe they put this scene in for the fact that, yeah, they are going to be able to communicate a little bit better now, and that means that they're going to do well or better in the final, because he's going to be more supportive of her, and not and she might feel heard a little bit more. So I think it was good for their team relationship, for sure. Yeah. I agree, Amaya, that I don't think Jordan is going to change overnight, but I do think it will be helpful for Kaz and him to run the final together. Just for him to be cognizant of like his tone. Like he has like asshole tone, like perfected. Like I would be so pissed if partner.
And I think he feels like, I don't know. I just don't think anything is going to be good enough for Jordan in this kind of environment or situation. Like unless his partner is like outpacing him, which is rarely ever going to happen, I think Jordan's always going to find something to be frustrated about. And even if it's not directed towards his partner, it's going to come off feeling that way.
Mm-hmm. It does. So let's just get into these power rankings, and then we can kind of talk through the rest of the episode while we are talking about our people. I put a loose order, and as usual, I don't know if this is what I feel.
Can we? Are we? Because this is how I viewed the power rankings, is that we're going into the finals. Are we ranking the players on how we see them competing in the finals? Since the next time we get together, the finals will be done, basically, I feel. So
do you think like the order that we think people will place in the final?
That's how I ranked them. And that's how I came into this, because it's going to be hard to be like ranking Theo and Sarah first if we're just going based off of this episode, putting Theo and Sarah first when they were handed a win.
No, I wasn't going to put them first anyways, but like,
so
I'm fine with this, and I can defend more easily the positions. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's first obviously talk about the team that didn't make it to the final. How did you feel about the fact that Yes and Emily, unfortunately, were not able to get it done.
I think they played a pretty stellar game. I do think that they let some emotions cloud probably the better strategic move in the long run. It's hard because they did come in with I mean, somebody put it in my comment section that there was 3 Australian teams pretty much at like 2 episodes ago. And then by the time we got to this episode, or at the end of this episode, we only have 1 Australian team making it to the finals. Where maybe if something could have been hatched out or kind of talked about, maybe they could have found some equal level playing field and maybe they could have used their numbers to their advantage moving forward. But it ultimately ended up how I felt like it was going to end up, where the Australian teams would be kind of on the outs. Theo and Sarah are into power. I think Emily and Yes were feeling like, well, if it's a stalemate, Jordan and Kaz are going to probably go in or whatever. But at that point, you got to think about where everybody's heads are at. And at the end of the day, it was them going in against Casey and Troy, which I was not surprised about at all.
Well, we were trying to figure out how that was going to happen, but like we now we know. So last week I was kind of suggesting that TJ was threatening to have a change in the format if a stalemate were to happen again, because he was kind of threatening, like, don't let it happen again. I don't want a stalemate. And then we do get another stalemate this week, but he does decide to change the plan and say that, okay, now everybody except for this one team had an opportunity to vote who they wanted to go down in the sand. So let's give them the opportunity to choose their opponent. And so Casey and Troy end up choosing Yes and Emily. How'd you feel about the change up in the stalemate rule?
I thought it was fun. I thought it was actually warranted because one, Theo and Sarah were already into the finals. So honestly, give the person that hasn't made it into the finals the choice of getting to pick anybody that they want up there, especially if they all voted for themselves. And then the aspect of the sabotage daily, where somebody actually pulled their flag, why not give them the opportunity to call them out and get some revenge on them? I like the switch up. I wish it would have came a little bit earlier because we would have then had Darrell versus Jordan in last week's competition, but shoulda, coulda, woulda at the end of the day. I think mainly what I think a lot of people are frustrated by is the voting ceremony, where everybody just agrees to just vote for themselves and make a stalemate. Like, somebody say a different name, say a different name and you're locked in. Like, it didn't make sense why everybody was just like, cool, we'll do a stalemate and we'll all have to worry and have that little bit of doubt of what happens. What will Sarah and Theo do when you had Jordan and Tori having the numbers? Or from what Danny says on Twitter is that because Jordan and Kaz went first and they said their own name, Yes and Emily could have just been like, well, I vote Jordan and Kaz as well. And they could have done on the basis of like, you sabotaged us. You kind of screwed us off that deal. See you later, dude. Like, anybody could have said anybody's names. Even Tori and Danny at the end of the voting could have easily been like, well, we're going to vote this person. And just not even worried about it. I think that's where the frustration is at the end of the day.
I'm definitely not happy that they forced the stalemate and that nobody took that as an opportunity to like choose what team they want to go in. Now, I think in most circumstances, other than the scenario that you suggested, is that like Yes and Emily just went Jordan and Kaz, which I don't think they were going to go do, because Jordan, like, little slimy version of a deal, he did uphold it to a certain degree. So I can see Yes and Emily not wanting to throw him in right away after they kind of did them a solid. I don't know, it's awkward and weird. I'm sure they were in a weird position, like, is he honoring it? Like, I don't know, but I can't throw him in right now. But everybody else, like, would have probably chosen Yes and Emily to go in anyway. So
yeah,
I think that we got the outcome unless they had changed unless they had voted for Jordan Kaz, or actually voted for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just why agree to the stalemate. I mean, Tori was in the right this past week's episode when Jordan
What?
coming back to the challenge house after the daily. Jordan was like, "This was the deal I made, and I want to stalemate it to give the people in power all the power." And Tori's like, "Why? Why would we do that? Why don't we just vote Emily and yes? We have 2 of the 3 votes that we need. Lock them in, and then we're all good. We don't have to worry the rest of the afternoon, which is the right thing." So stupid. So stupid.
So stupid. So anything else we want to say about Yes and Emily here? She was really audibly crying, kind of feeling defeated that she wasn't able to make it to the final. She says that she's the only person that's still left in the game at that point that hasn't been to a final yet. And so she just really wants to get there. And like I understand that drive as somebody that strives for excellence in her life, just wanting to get at least to the final to see if she can place. But yeah, she wasn't able to get it done in the hall brawl. Yeah, not good. Is Yes tall?
Yeah. I think he's slightly taller than Troy. So he's taller. I would say probably 5'9" or 5'10", maybe.
Okay, so not super tall, but Troy, we need to learn, is about 5'7". So
Yeah.
so that is why. So Yes did beat Troy in the first round. Emily lost to Casey in the second round, and then in the third round Emily lost again to Casey. Now, what do you think though? Do you think that there is any production interference here as to like this coin flip? Because sometimes they let the teams choose who they want, if they want a male round or a female round. Like, how do you feel about that?
I think honestly, I think that they did the women's round and it was actually pretty decent. I mean, honestly, I think that this was such an evenly matched hall brawl, and they did pick the right decision of who to go up against. I mean, given the results, but also just given the stature of each player and either side was not that familiar with a hall brawl, as none of the sides have been in a hall brawl with each other or at all in their challenge careers. And I just thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, I definitely thought that I was rooting for Emily here. I kind of just wanted her to, well, like, yeah, I'm more so team Casey than I've ever been in recent years. But I just like, I wanted Emily to like, just to do it, like, even though she hasn't been my favorite character this season, I did want to see her potentially beat Casey. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to see that happen, but you weren't, you were rooting for Casey?
I was rooting for Troy at the end of the day, and then I thought, like, I was so happy when Troy got the first round, and then when Casey lost the first time around, and then it was them right back after that, I was
that
like
how it went?
standing up.
Sorry, I was like
Yeah.
misremembering, I think. Okay,
Oh
sorry.
yeah, that's how it went. But yeah, no, I was standing up. I was pacing back and forth because at that point, anything could happen. I was like, will Casey learn from what happened, or will she just kind of crumble? Like, I thought it was wide open for any possibility to happen. And so I thought that this was just really, really compelling how this all went down. So yeah.
Right. I'm looking at my actual notes right now, and I did have it correct. I'm like, whoa, Troy got the first point, Emily gets the second point. And so heads, women are going to be going up for the third point. And but I was rooting for Troy, I agree, but I was rooting for Emily here.
I mean, you got to feel, if you're Emily, I mean, this was like a sucker punch that you felt earlier in the day with Sarah pulling you into the bathroom, trying to have a one-on-one, talking about like hyping you up, as well as give you a heads up that you're going to be sent into elimination. And then to kind of be sideways by Troy now having the vote, and him and Casey pick you, and then losing. And so it's like you were getting hit from all sides. Like, there was no getting out of this, whether it was in Sarah's hands or in Troy's hands. And yeah, I mean, that was pretty, it's rough. And then losing, crying, getting so close to the finals. Yeah, it was rough.
It was a little bit rough. But I would see Emily come back on my screen. I do like people that want to win.
Mhm.
Like she wants to be there. She wants to compete. She wants to get to the end. And I may not have love the fact that her gameplay this season, because I did like a lot of the Australian teams that she wasn't working with or wasn't getting along with. I do respect for her as like a game player and a competitor, and so I will welcome Emily back. How about you?
Yeah, especially if it's like a rival season, put Emily and Troy together. Let's do it. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yes, I would watch that for sure. Okay, so the next person or the next team would be who we think is going to place fourth in the final, correct?
Yeah, we can do that.
So who do you have there?
For me, my opinion, I have the team of Theo and Sarah getting fourth place. To me, they've done fine. They haven't done so bad in finals that they go directly into an elimination, they haven't done so bad in dailies, and then they haven't done so great that they look actually dominate. Or I don't know about their team dynamic at all. This is Theo's first finals or first season in quite a while. He did do really great in War of the Worlds, which was a few years back. And then Sarah, just thinking about her on the Challenge USA, it didn't seem like that torturous of a finals, but she was in the back of the pack. There had to be some weird situations and occurrences that got her to where she was standing up there at the mountain with Danny after he was standing up there for like an hour and a half or plus waiting for somebody else to finish this thing up. So I feel like it's weird trying to figure out who would come in fourth, and I just feel like I'm tentatively putting them in fourth place. But I mean, I think this is wide open to where anybody could finish anywhere, and I would be like, okay, I can see that happening.
Of course.
But comparatively to the rest of the competition, I would put them in fourth.
I am completely agreeing with this placement for this team. They were force fed this win this episode, and they almost blew it still. Like, if they took any longer, I'm sure Jordan and Kaz would have been like, "Ah, gosh, okay, like we'll win because you can't figure this out." And Kaz, who we know is not great at math, was actually the one that ended up helping them understand what the pattern was so they can get the code to unlock it. So and it just doesn't show that they work that well together in order to be able to execute, even if they're having the win handed to them. We know that Theo's a strong runner, long distance for sure. I think he was a sprinter, but I don't know what he did in the Olympics. But we know he's good athletically. But and I think Sarah is also very good athletically, but we haven't seen them really perform that well together. And so I feel like they're going to be out of their league a little bit in the final, unfortunately. So that's why I also have them in fourth place.
Diana says that Sarah mentioned on the official podcast that this final is much harder than the USA final. And it does. It looks way worse. Like, it looks like they get on a train and then they take them into the middle of nowhere and tell them to like walk home, essentially. Like, it looks rough.
I'm happy that it's going to be a challenging one. I don't want anybody to get sick. I see people having IVs and stuff like that. I hope it's just like dehydration and not anybody being taken out of the game.
Yeah, I almost feel like maybe it's going to be like the War of the Worlds, where at the night portion, they give them IVs to kind of like get them rehydrated for the next day or something. It looks rough. It looks so brutal. It looks bad. Like,
where are they
really
again?
bad. They're in South Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
No, do you think everyone doesn't quit? No, I don't think
they do a different puzzle. It's it's not Sudoku, but they find a different puzzle that nobody's ever heard of, and then everybody just decides to walk off.
I can't believe people quit for a Sudoku. It's still shocking to me. Like, I don't sometimes Sudoku's like it's hard just because like, but it's eliminations. Like you just like process what's it? Possible elimination by like, okay, that's not going to work, so this has to work. Like you will eventually get it correct, if you flip things around enough. I know their hands were cold. I know the magnets weren't working that well, so there's like that kind of interfered. But like, it's a Sudoku.
I just find it like super impressive that I feel like Sudoku is so well known from, and at least like I would want to say in a world of 6 billion, at least 1 billion people have tried a Sudoku puzzle at one point, whether they finished it or not. Yet in the finals, they found like 8 people that just never have heard of Sudoku in their freaking life. Like they found 8 people or 6 people, since there was a couple of quits before then. Like 6 or 5 people that just were like, I have no clue what this is. Finish the pattern. What is this? I've never Sadak? Is that what you're calling this? I have never heard of it. What are you talking about?
Rubik's Cube is also not actually hard if you just know the algorithm. It's just like
I used to, yeah.
I used to too. I think that like if I ever got on a show, I would just like practice that algorithm. I feel like it would just come in handy. Sudokus can be hard, but it's not actually hard. You know what I mean? Like it can be difficult if you don't put the right number in first, but like you can shuffle it around and you can get the right answer. It's possible. It's not like a math equation where like if you completely don't know how to do it, you won't be able to get it wrong. This one, you just have to put the numbers 1 to 9. Like,
I will say that there should have been a timeout. Like if you have gotten that far into the game and you're sitting there spinning your wheels, I still think that there should have been a time expiration, or even just saying like, I'm done and I'll sit a 20-minute time penalty and then you let me go walk up the rest of the mountain. I think that there should have been something like that instead of everybody having to quit on the last. Right? I mean, come on, man. That finals was in shambles already, and it looks like an even bigger joke having people quit over a single puzzle when you could probably just time people out or have them wait 20 to 30 minutes and then let them walk up the rest of the mountain. I think that's just ridiculous.
Wouldn't then Justine have been the winner?
Probably. And I'm cool with that. If she did the whole finals, she worked on it. I mean, granted, Sarah actually finished the Sudoku, we think. But it's just weird. It's just weird. It just puts a lot of question marks and like asterisks, I feel.
Hi, Matthew. Matthew says maybe there'll be an elimination during the final and Tori, Jordan, and Casey will all quit to avoid having to vote one of their friends in.
Theo gets his win. You know what? That'd be really funny if it's like that Sarah is just the annihilator. Like anytime she makes the finals, everybody just quits around her so that she can win.
Yes, that would be amazing. Okay, in the third position, I put Danny and Tori.
Wow.
Now, I put them there because I just feel like the teams that Danny is going to be scared of, and he has wanted to get at least one of them out, I feel like he's going to have been right and been like, we should have gotten out at least one of your friends because then we would have won. And so that would be Kaz and Jordan, obviously his team. We know that I would say, are the team to beat, most likely. And then I also bumped up Casey and Troy, who have had a lot of experience working together. They've gone down into eliminations together. They've been successful together. And I know that it looks like Troy is at a disadvantage going into elimination right before going into the challenge, but he had that happen to him on his Australian season, and he still ended up with the W. So I just don't think that Troy's going to get beaten down by the fact that he had to endure one round of a hall brawl. And I think that they know how to work really well together. And Danny and Tori have not proven to be able to work well together yet. They have not placed not placed first in any of the dailies this entire season. With or without help, they weren't the team that they got help to get that win this episode. So that's why I have them in third.
Okay. I have them second place in my rankings, finishing second place. Mainly because let's be real. Let's be real. The teams that are in the finals, no team really has the daily challenge win other than Jordan and Kaz / asterisk Sarah and Theo. So nobody has really won much of anything besides Casey and Troy, who have gone down to multiple eliminations. I personally see, I personally look at how Danny and Troy really did well on their respective finals on their spinoffs. So I feel like they kind of cancel each other out, as they both did really well. They never really came in last, I don't think, in any of their laps. When it comes down to Tori and Casey, looking at how they have performed in finals, I feel like Tori has outshined Casey in finals, in the sense that she's better at puzzles and she has way more endurance, whereas Casey, I feel, is just not fully there in the endurance department. I love that she has Troy, who can do math and puzzles, but when it comes down to her performances, even in the finals that she won, she barely won that behind Tori, and it was because she had CT memorizing a full number and they won by 2 seconds. But I can see why you put them in third. But I think that Casey's endurance is a huge liability in these finals. At one point in the preview, it looks like Troy is giving Casey a piggyback ride, and I have a worry about it. That's my thing. I do think that Casey and Troy did more in the actual game at the end of the day, so I can understand that. But yeah.
Do you know what? Thinking about what you're saying, maybe it's going to be more of a burn for Danny. So he really wanted to have Jordan out of the game. Like, I know he didn't want her to have 2 number ones, but it was Jordan for the most part that he didn't want to run a final against. So I can agree with you. Let's bump then.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Everybody hates me saying that Danny and Tori should be in second place. Should you reconsider? Should you reconsider? Chris is saying that she agrees with you. Jorge says it has been grilling me all afternoon. Lauren now is grilling me. So I mean, I want to know. Can somebody type in the chat why, besides liking Troy and Casey more over Danny and Tori this past season, why Danny and Tori should be in third place? It does not matter. If we both agree that one team is in second and the other team is in third, the only thing is that we both agree that they're not in first is the main point of this. But and now that the challenge is just one lump sum to whoever wins, I guess it just doesn't matter at the end of the day. But
stop this madness. So Amaya saying that Danny and Tori definitely giving second place vibes. I can kind of see that. Oh, okay. Matthew says stick to my gut, Chantele.
Drew came to fight tonight. I come to fight every night. I'm fighting like for my life here for the past 3 weeks.
Ooh, this is a good point though. Tori doesn't care to win. She doesn't have that hustle, it seems, and it could be because her 2 besties are in it, like in the final with her. They're probably going to each give her $38,000, and like she doesn't need to try that hard. So that could also be a reason for them to be in third place.
I mean, if there's any point that I feel like Tori is sabotaging herself and Danny, I will riot. I will sign a petition for Tori not to come back if she is legit sabotaging somebody else, her partner, to get a big sum of money for him and his family at the end of the day, just because she would rather somebody else, one of her friends, wins. Like, I will be so angry, and that is so irredeemable in my mind that you would do that. But I don't think that's the case. Hopefully that's not the case, but hopefully not. She just doesn't seem all there I can
Who
understand
doesn't?
where people are saying that she doesn't feel like she's all there,
Who?
and how her decision making has been there.
Sorry, who hasn't been all there?
Tori, because of her logic of trying to vote her and Danny at multiple times, not wanting to say other people's names. I understand where people are saying that maybe she isn't.
I think she has
all
to stay
there.
in 3. You're convincing me she needs to stay in 3rd. Like, she's played this season so annoyingly that, like, I just don't see all of a sudden they're going to shine and do super well in the final. And if she doesn't have the hustle,
I will disagree, because I do think that when it gets to a finals, that it's just like the best team will win. Like, I just don't think that she would take a knee on that sense. But if we want to do that, you have conceded to my ideas plenty of times. I will, since it's 2nd and 3rd, I don't think I think it's minuscule if we're fighting for who's 2nd and 3rd at the end of the day. So
Amaya's saying that she thinks that because Danny's been sassy on Twitter, that it's likely that he got close to the win, but he couldn't beat Jordan.
I mean, you could be even sassier and frustrated if you get 2nd place, possibly behind Jordan.
That was a 2nd place kind of thought in my head with like losing to Jordan.
But yeah, I mean, we could put Danny and Tori at 3rd. I just think that they have way more in the tank, going off of Tori just winning 38 and how Danny performed in the finals in USA, which was really, really solid. And they both can do puzzles, where I just think Casey, I don't know, when it comes to not social aspects of the game, or just straight eliminations, which are kind of like, I don't know, quick hits of an energy or strength, I just don't see it. I don't see her like, I don't know. I think Lobo said
but
that
Casey
she
has not been in a final where she had a partner. And so,
I mean, double agents.
Who was her partner?
Vessel. And then that's when he kept on yelling at her to move it. Like, he was up at the pack with Amber, and he's like, "Move it! Hurry up, Casey, run!" And then that's when she like destroyed her knee. Yeah. And then she didn't do well in the team aspect or the solo aspect of SLA. And then when she was partnered up with CT, they put it into gear. So, but yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm cool with putting Danny and Tori 3rd, as everybody and you feel so strongly about it. I'm cool. As long as we're not fighting over who should be in 1st or 3rd, I'm okay with it.
Or it's making a deal. He says, "How about this, Drew?
No,
if Danny and Tori get 2nd, we don't fight you again."
Okay. I bet you won't. Bet you won't hold to that. I bet you won't hold to that. But okay.
The chat will hold to that. I cannot. All right. So that means then. So let's just put this down here. Oh, wait, where's my little thing? So we got Tori and Danny in 2nd, Troy and Casey in 3rd. Tori and Danny in 3rd, Troy and Casey in 2nd. And that means that we have in the numero uno position is Jordan and Kaz. So you think they're going to take home the W?
Did we talk enough about Casey and Troy?
We can talk more.
I mean, I want to. What is the process of putting them 2nd? Like, what stands out to you?
Well, what I'm saying is the fact that they have been able to get it done. Was this their 4th elimination win? 3rd or 4th?
3rd together. Casey's 4th.
So they have shown me in this season that they are able to work together and execute, and it's been a different types of eliminations. So like they both won 1 elimination in this hall brawl. So like they're not afraid of going into like a head-to-head combat situation. We know that Casey has played, like rugby or football, and we know Troy is a American Ninja Warrior. I just feel like they have potential skills that will be able to translate over in this final. We know that Troy is not afraid of anything and that he's willing to just throw himself in these finals. I just can see them working well together. We have not seen yet Tori and Danny work that well together. The whole season, they've been arguing, they've been throwing themselves in. Like, they haven't been able to get on the same page to get anything done. How are they just going to turn it around and all of a sudden be this well oiled machine now that the finals here, when she's running against her two best friends that she doesn't necessarily care if she loses to? I just don't see personally Tori having the drive and their team having the cohesion to be able to do better than Troy and Casey, who have been fighting to stay in this game and learning how to work well together really quickly.
I will say that I can see where you're coming from. I can see where maybe their newfound communication skills and working with each other can work well in the game. I will say that I think that when it comes to actual competitions, we've never really seen Tori and Danny bicker. It's always come down to who should we vote in, who should we not vote in kind of aspect of the game, which is kind of out the window now that we're in the finals. As well as I think that Danny and Tori haven't won because they didn't need to win. I almost feel like it's kind of like what Bananas was saying throughout 38, like he was just throwing all the daily challenges. I could see them not wanting to win because they had themselves in different camps that if they were to have won, first of all, they would probably tear each other apart trying to figure out who they would actually throw into elimination. But but also they would ruin one side of the house and their game if they were to have won. So to me, they never did work terrible. And I almost think that maybe they were kind of like, I'm not going to want to win because why would we want to ever make a decision? But I could see it. Honestly, I could see either of these two teams kind of fighting it out for second or third.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, I could see either of these teams moving in either of these positions. Like, if they ended up being in third place, I could be like, I mean, yeah, I was just taking a gamble here. Like, we haven't seen the final yet, and we haven't seen them run a final together. So I could be terribly wrong, or you could be terribly wrong. Like, who knows? But yeah, I just feel like it's been proven up until this point that Troy and Casey work well together, and I just don't see that failing in the final.
Okay.
But I do understand though that people saying that Casey flops a little bit in finals, but I think Troy excels in finals. Tori, yes, she's pretty good in finals, but is she going to be pretty good in finals with Danny, who they have not been able to communicate well together with? I just like, can you see them like yelling at a puzzle? Like, no, you don't do it. No, do it this way. Don't do it. Like, I can just see them bickering and wasting time, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why I have them there. Have I defended my position enough for you this evening, Drew?
I mean, I'm hard-headed and stubborn, so I will always think that I am right, but I will concede this time because I love Troy and Casey, and I would love to see them get high up in second and push for a first place finish.
First place finisher. So that means we have Jordan and Kaz in the number 1 position. Why do you have them here?
One, Jordan's finals record when in a finals is 3-5. 3 of 5. He has won 3 finals out of 5 times being there, which is an incredible winning percentage that you cannot scoff at. And also, I was about to go somewhere with it. No, he's also the only multi-champ there. And we saw what he could do in the Challenge 38, getting third place, possibly higher placing with Anissa, even an injured Anissa, with a person that he was just asking to be semi-athletic. And now he has a partner that is not just semi-athletic, she is hella athletic. And the only thing that I thought was going to be a huge like roadblock for them was the talking to each other, or how Jordan treats Kaz with his comments and everything. And I think that's still going to be a factor in the finals. But when it comes down to it, they're both very competitive and both athletic. And if Jordan is in a finals, more than not, I'm going to put my money on him to win. So to
Yeah,
me,
I
Kaz is incredible and Jordan is incredible. So yeah.
Yeah, I see Jordan winning with any female partner that's left in the final. I think that he could take the win there for sure. So if they do, I think they're going to be sticking in their partners. But if they have to bounce around, I think that every single female that's still left in the game would be a great partner for Jordan to run a section of the final with. So I definitely think that he is the person to beat. And Kaz is super, super, super strong. The fact that she wanted to clear the air and get on the same page to a certain extent with their conversation and just at least feel heard. And I think she did. They had a big hug. I feel like she's going to want to do well for him. And I think he's going to want to do well for her as well. And I think that they are going to be trying really, really hard to get that win for each other. We know Jordan always wants to win, but like I just think that that conversation is going to put them in the driver's seat for, well, he's like a race car driver now, but in the driver's seat for this final. Some people were speculating, I don't remember which pod I was listening to, that the reason why Jordan is now venturing into race car driving is because he got another fat check, because that's a very expensive hobby, and that maybe he's taking some time off to, start getting good at this new hobby of race car driving, because he did win the season. So, and taking a break from the next season. So, what do you think about that rumor or like thought?
I feel like Jordan has his money together. He has won 3 times before. And one of those checks was a really big check from Dirty 30. And then he also won a big check in 34. So I feel like if he has so many business adventures, like he's a freaking Disney character, he has so many business ventures and probably so many people that will give him loans if he really needed to get into a hobby like that. I don't think just because he's getting into it now that it's because he got a ton of money from this. I wouldn't put too much stock into that, but I would say that possibly the way Danny, looking into how Danny is talking about in Twitter, and something that I saw him say one time, just one comment, one word, made me feel some type of way that I was like, maybe meta looking at this, maybe it could venture into maybe a Jordan win or a Casey win, possibly. But I just feel like they are so capable. And even looking at their performance comparatively to the other players on in the finals, I mean, we talked about how they won a daily challenge, but also look at all the daily challenges that they didn't win, but they came in second place. And to me, that's huge. I mean, that's just talking about how you're competing at a higher level, especially with all the people kind of leaving each and every week, and you're still being able to compete and get second place finishes or close to second or close to first place finishes. They finished second in the first daily challenge. They got second place this past daily challenge. They got second place the challenge before that one. I mean, they just are able to compete at a very high level, even when Kaz is giving everything to just stick with Jordan, who is trying to stick with Emily in a swim. I mean, to me, they're just really, really solid. And even though it doesn't look like there's going to be that much swimming, I think of Dirty 30's finals, which kind of reminds me of this finals, because there's a lot of sand, there's a lot of running, there's a lot of weird spots that they're just going to be doing different challenges. And I don't know. I just feel like it's hard to root or vote against Jordan. Like, I wouldn't have confidence putting all my eggs into a single competitor's basket unless it's Jordan and Kaz's.
Agreed. And Konoichi here is saying it's still crazy to me that they left Jordan in this game without Anissa to hold him down. Yeah, absolutely. Like, he shouldn't be here. He shouldn't be having this opportunity with an amazing partner to get to the end and most likely win this season. I mean, I like Kaz and Jordan as a team enough to want them to win, but like they shouldn't be here, right? Like shouldn't be here at all. Shouldn't be. They should have gotten. All.
I mean, they should have had more. Adversity. They should have been targeted more so. I mean, I don't think they only saw one elimination, and from Jordan's experiences, you rarely get him out on the first go around. So you need like 2 or 3 at least to try to get him to go out. And by that time, you're praying that Kaz has to do math by herself to get out. I mean, he only saw one elimination because of a weird daily challenge where they weren't working with each other. It was all on the MVPs to do math, and that is like Kaz's one weakness. So even taking that into account, Kaz figured out the math riddle from this past daily, and then there's no point. To me, I don't see there being any point in the final where they're going to have to do separate math problems where Jordan can't help her if there is. So to me, it's just
don't do that.
It's rough. Yeah, I just think that they should have seen more adversity, and I feel like it's going to be really tough to surpass them, but anything can happen. I mean, if they're jumping out of an airplane and then they destroy their knees, well, Jordan did that and won. So, I mean, rarely anything's going to take Jordan out of these things, but he does have a partner. Anything can happen. And yeah, so I think all these competitors are really, really strong. They all made it this far. And it's very, very good. And I do think that anybody could land anywhere, even in first place or last place. And I could be like, yeah, I could see that, because all these people are pretty much winners and can do really well. I just feel like Jordan and Kaz are the ones to look out for in this one. But I could see Danny and Tori, who are second place in my opinion, or Troy and Casey, who are second place for everybody else. But yeah, even Sarah and Theo. There is a path for Sarah and Theo, even though we have a huge question mark for them. But anything could happen.
Oh, Matthew, Mrs. Kellyanne. We all do. All right, so just to recap here, we have Theo and Sarah in fourth place in this final. And then, even though Drew doesn't agree, Danny and Tori for this week are in third place. We have Troy and Casey in second place. And in the number 1 spot, most likely winning this final, is going to be Jordan and Kaz. Now, Drew, if we are wrong, you can give us a big "I told you so." Okay?
I will not do that. I will be classy, and I will.
No class.
I will
we don't need class.
Sit here. I'll sit here and just be like, I'll just do this. I'll just do like, I don't know.
Now, not that I there's any possibility of me moving it up in this draft. No. Did anything happen here favorable?
Well, there was a lot of points handed out this past week because, all right, that's cool. Okay, there we go. There's a lot of points handed out this week because now that we're heading into the finals, everybody who made it into the finals got plus 10 bonus points, as well as we got extra 25 points for the superlatives from the season. So most confessionals heading into the finals was Danny. So he got a plus 25 bonus there. Most daily wins goes to Jordan and Kaz, as well as Sarah and Theo. So everybody there got 12.5 points each. Stupid Jordan and Kaz can just get 25 points. Just win your second one. Most elimination wins goes to Casey because she did see the most eliminations out of everybody who's left. And then you have Danny getting the most points heading into the finals. So he gets another 25 plus bonus points, as well as all the other bonus points. Now, with all that being said, in third place is Team Chantele. You have 2 players remaining, and that is Danny and Theo. Danny is by far has the most points out of everybody. Given all the bonuses and everything, He has a whopping 136 points by himself. You scored 111.5 points this week, bumping you up to 408.5 points. So there you go. Second place is Team Chris, who also has 2 players left. He has Sarah and Casey, which Casey was the sabotage, if I remember. And that is his highest remaining player left is she has 94 points. She has 94 points in 11 episodes. Think of that. She has 94 points in 11 episodes when she made it to, I think, over 11 episodes with you on her team. And she had like 18 points, 20 points. Really, really bad. So with his 2, he lost Emily this past week. You lost Yes this past week. And with that being the case, he scored 100.5 points, getting his total up to 508.5 points. And in second place. And for me, I'm in first place with 4 players remaining. I have Tori, Jordan, Kaz, and Troy left. I scored 121 total points this past week, and I have 536 points heading into the finals. My highest score is Jordan with 95.5 points. So that's cool. So, yeah.
Whatever. Just kidding. Just kidding. I mean, the way that the seasons went was definitely not expected. Like the teams that went out decently early, like all my high point getters in the beginning, I'm just like, whoa, this is not good. Obviously there's no chance for me to win this one, especially now that all these points getting into the final have been done. There's no chance.
Well, there is like a plus bonus for winning each phase into the final, as well as whoever wins will get 50 points / 25 points per person. So, I mean, there's still hope. I don't want to give up too easily. There's still hope. But if it comes down to a certain way, I mean, once we actually draft for USA 2, it looks like you will get first pick, though.
Shut up! I hate you.
That's good.
I hate
Look
you.
on the bright side.
I hate you. Well, yes, we will figure out, what's going to go on with All Stars 4 draft. We don't have like a date yet for that season or anything?
No, I thought I saw somebody say that they heard a rumor that it may be May 31st, but I haven't heard jack diddly.
I think we would have heard something 2 weeks out. So
yeah, and it's weird because normally they drop everything on a Wednesday, but I don't think they would want to overshadow like going into the finals or the finals by dropping All Stars 4 on the same day that the finals are dropping. Mm-hmm. For this season. So I feel like they might wait a week after that, or they'll just drop it on Thursday, maybe I don't know. But yeah, it's weird.
You noticed that too, that shade that he was throwing? Mm-hmm.
I am not saying anything. I was just saying like there is a silver lining to
the loser gets to pick first in the or choose the order of the draft or whichever. Anyways, Amaya wants to know which season out of the 30s was our favorite so far.
Out of the 30s? I mean, I like 33 a lot.
Which one's 33?
War of the Worlds.
Oh, the first one. Yeah. That one was good.
A lot of people say 32, especially if you can binge it.
Which one's 32?
Final Reckoning.
Ashley?
Yeah, Ashley taking all the money.
That one wasn't bad. Is that the same one where Natalie runs the wrong way in the final?
Yeah. That is. I mean, that one has a lot of drama. I just remember it being a pain to watch because they would always cut it in half. Like, I didn't like how they edited it to try to make people like lead into the next episode. But I heard it's really great on a binge.
I haven't done a binge in that one in a while. It had a marathon on recently, and I remember just seeing bits and pieces of it. I mean, It's always good. They're always like good. I didn't really love any like the double agents. Like I like the idea of the theme, but then I just didn't like how they were executed personally. Kunoichi would like to know a bit about Troy's interview Easter eggs, like the bananas vote details. I've found super interesting. Is there anything you want to share about, a little teaser about your interview that you might want to share with the people so they can go and watch the whole thing?
Troy was very open and honest about like people in the house. Like he talked about like how frustrated he was about the episode being only 40 minutes because he felt like easily it could have been over an hour long if each episode to like feature everybody's like relationships and get a little bit more insight in like people's bonds. He talked about how Tristan and Kiki were super close in the house, that they were Kiki was Tristan's number one in the game, which I found super like surprising. Like I wouldn't have guessed that in like ever just by watching the episodes. But he said that they were super close with each other and that Kaz and Theo were going at it, which I did not push on what he meant by going at it, but he said that they were going at it constantly, whether that means arguing or maybe being flirtatious or whatever. Like, why haven't we seen that? Like, they kind of built it up at one point and then just never did anything with it. And yeah, he was just really, really open and honest about a lot of stuff. And I really appreciated him talking. He's such a really cool, down to earth person, and it was awesome.
I'm definitely going to check it out. So I do hope that everybody here in the chat or anybody that's watching it later goes over and checks out this interview because, you have such high praise over Troy. We're Troy fans here for sure. And I definitely want to see and hear all these little Easter eggs about this season from him. So that is super awesome. Go watch or listen. Well, Drew, we're coming to the end. We have 2 more of these to do. But what do you have going on this week?
This week I have a video that I'll be working on for Tuesday, which will start a new series of videos, as well as I'll be doing reviews and recaps, tiny table talks, and whenever All Stars 4 gets announced, I'll be talking about that, as well as I'm going to be putting together a pretty long video series of ranking all 38 seasons of the finals. Or not of the finals, but of the challenge, and I'll be spending quite a bit of time working on that, and probably piss people off on that too. But I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Hear people's thoughts about it and get my own opinions out
there. I can't wait to have that up, and then I'm gonna go and maybe Chris and I will do how you're wrong. We watch the video.
I welcome
he's
that.
Wrong. And there's no wrong. Obviously, it's definitely everybody's opinion, and it's all friendly banter. I'm never mad at any of his opinions, even when they're wrong. So, great rankings. Well, thanks, Chris. Thanks everybody for being here. Do we get another hint on the next series? I guess it's that. Are you talking about the CT series?
No,
that you're doing?
I just gave a hint very recently, so I'm not going to give a hint like every time I'm on camera, but I will give hints throughout when I finish major milestones in the research or writing or something. I'll drop hints then. But as of right now, I just dropped a hint like early May.
What hint did you drop?
That this person has been on a ton of seasons. That was my first hint. And I mean ton of seasons, meaning 8+ seasons of the challenge that they were on. So that's the first hint.
All right. Can we do the debating videos again? Absolutely, but not probably anytime soon, because we know that Chris is traveling around the world right now. So locking him down for another video, I don't know if we will really have the opportunity to do. But if we do have a bit of a break between one of these challenge seasons, then I wouldn't be surprised if we can come up with a nice little debate video. And maybe we'll be debating your list.
That'd be great.
You're wrong.
Would somebody? Can I just say, I feel like those topics like some of those topics were kind of like, I don't know, not as spicy, but now like a little bit time removed, I feel like they're even spicier. Like when I think I had to talk about Tori and like defend her and talk about how she was like incredible. Now that's like a huge spicy take that I have posted on the internet myself. And so if anybody clips that and it's like, this dude loves Tori, it's like, it's a debate video. It's called Unpopular Opinions for a reason.
So do you know what though? If you want to have another unpopular opinion debate, can you start leaving some unpopular opinions here in the chat just to get this conversation going? To like, what is an unpopular opinion that you want to hear us defend or support? So that could be a good way to start getting the ball rolling here on another series. Yeah, I know he's a Secret Story stan. Absolutely.
Stop.
Yep, confirmed.
Ridiculous.
You guys are great. Thank you so much, chat. You guys are awesome. Should I just leave Drew confirmed Tori stand here as we close out?
I've yelled enough about them. Like, come on now.
Please follow this channel, Reality Wellness with 3 S's. Also, the Angelcake Entertainment channel. Like this video and leave in the comments how you feel about the rankings. Is the 2 and 3 spots flipped? Do you think that Danny and Tori should be in the 2nd position and Casey and Troy in the 3rd position? Or do you believe with me and most of the chat at the way that we have these rankings this week are standing? And also, if you feel inclined, please leave an unpopular opinion in the chat or in the comments so that we can maybe gather some unpopular opinions to debate in a future debate with Chris from the Nullified Take. So unless you have anything else to say, Drew, is that it?
No. It's all good.
Till next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.